All right, all right. Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in. I was going to do a love tarot story, and then I had a thought pop into my head and the image in my mind. And I was like, okay, well, it's still going to be a love story, but it'll now be like a specific message as well, simply because I was picturing somebody who had like work boots on, with like the grommets, and they had obviously been like through some weather. They'd been through, they've been saturated and wet, and then they dried out. They'd worked, they'd walked. It was like the focal point was the boots, and they were on somebody's legs still, on their feet. But it was like, my impression is like, felt like somebody who was tired. They came in from, this could be metaphorical, or this could be like literally, somebody like came in from work, and it's like, I've been out in the weather and I've been doing this a long time, and I'm kind of worn out like an old boot. Or maybe this is their soul is a little tired, or maybe this is somebody who's just getting off work. Maybe it's somebody who has like their favorite, kind of beat up pair of boots. But anyway, we want to slice it. That was the image that popped in, and I wasn't intending to do a specific message because my mind was blank. And I was like, no, I just want to do a check-in on love. And then I'm like, well, apparently it's both. Hi, Denisa. Hi, Violet, Ginger, Luminous Marina, Dwanette, Bobby Harris, AC, Annette. You guys, before I get too deep into this, can I ask, because I know some of you I was with last night when we were live. So when I did the live video last night, you guys, I got to like 30 minutes and I still had like 8 or 9 people that I needed to get to. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close down the chat so that I don't have more people adding on, so I can finish those out. And then I can go over to Case Regretless Life and go live there. But when I closed down the chat, did I disappear to you guys? Because the video, was like almost an hour long. It was like 56 minutes long that I was live. But I'm just trying to figure out, when I closed down the chat, did that impact your guys' ability to view me? Because like Luminous Marina, you were one of the one of the last people that I got to. Okay, so AC says, no, I didn't disappear. Okay, good. You could still see me and hear me and everything. Okay, because somebody else had problems with that. And I was like, oh no, did that happen to everybody? I'm just trying to figure out so that I don't, if it's a problem for you guys, I don't want to do that again and make a mess of everything. So anyway, yes, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Thank you again so much, AC. So generous. Oh my God. You guys are so lovely. Thank you so much, everybody. It's really good to see you all. All right. So we have a King of Swords upright. We have an Ace of Wands in the reverse. We have a Knight of Cups in the reverse. We have a Ten of Swords upright. Okay, so I'm going to say that reading this like he's tired is probably the best way to read it. We have a Six of Cups in the reverse. So we may have a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius masculine. I know, everybody's going the King of Swords again. He's been a primary character for a while, no matter what channel, no matter what story we're on. Let's just say, it doesn't have to be an air sign, but let's just say this is somebody who's thinking, right? So we have somebody who's in their thoughts right now, and he must be the one who's weary, because with that Ace of Wands in the reverse and the Knight of Cups in the reverse, it's like, I couldn't go gravitate towards someone no matter what right now. I haven't got the gas in my gas tank to do it, meaning I don't have the energy to do this. We have a Ten of Swords and that Six of Cups. It feels like he is in a moment of like true clarity, that it feels either defeated. Now, normally I love the Ten of Swords on one hand, because it's like, okay, it was painful, it was hurtful, but at least it's all wrapped up now. Saying this is the end of the road for me and a soulmate, with that Six of Cups in the reverse. So am I right in thinking that this is more a metaphor for his soul? Is that why his work boots are, because actually here he has no shoes on at all, right? He's been walking now barefoot. I almost feel like there's nothing left of a connection, and he's really devastated over it. But he's the one who feels like it's a painful ending. We have the Nine of Wands sideways. We have the Ten of Wands sideways. There is still a lot of unfinished business any way we slice it. I think he's reached some point where it's like, I'm never even going to get a chance to heal this up with her. I'm never going to get a chance. She's hiding. She doesn't want to come near me. I thought someday we could like bury the hatchet, but it's not going to happen. Okay, why do you think that it's never going to happen, King of Swords? 10 of Cups in the reverse, because there's literally, I never even brought any joy into her life, is the way she sees it at this point. 5 of Cups, I only brought her grief. And the kind of pain that she feels from this. And the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, he's saying either she'll never get over this, or are you saying you'll never get over this? Look, right now we're only seeing it from his perspective, so we don't even know if that's the case, right? We don't even know. This is just him, like, whoo, in like the depths of despair over this. We have a 2 of Pentacles. I said, why do you think that? And he's like, I've weighed it. I've considered it. I don't know if he tried reaching out to her and he didn't get any message back. Maybe he we see all that script there. It says angels exist. Sometimes they have wings and sometimes we call them friends. I'm wondering if he's like saying, honestly, she was an absolute angel. And if are you saying that you hurt her? You say that I didn't bring her any joy. She says all I did was bring her grief. Are you saying that though? Because he might just be really down on himself. Crumb right now. We got a King of Cups. He says, I loved her. Okay, then that doesn't seem... Why do you think she views you as only bringing her grief then? Queen of Swords, because she said. Okay. She told me that. King of Swords again. My first impression with this card is that he's got like somebody where like, I don't know if he's got overly supportive mom and dad where it's like, but mom and dad say I didn't do anything wrong. The only reason I say that is because he stands here with a hand on the hip like, well, mom and dad said that I was good. I didn't do anything. I mean, the Queen of Swords told me that I only made her unhappy, but mom and dad said I did not. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's the stance. This is a very arrogant stance. And I can't help it. Right down to, like the casual, like leaning the other hand over. It just feels like on one hand, why are you so bummed out by this? If you also say, but I didn't do it. I really loved her. Even mom and dad said I was fine. But she said I only brought her grief and she doesn't want anything to do with me. She wouldn't even she's not going to get over this. What is it that she's not going to get over? I'm sorry. I'm still confused. The Fool. If they took a leap in a different direction toward a different person, and he's holding the rose, and that makes me think of like the Bachelor shows. Did he go somewhere else? He's standing on the moon too. Did he hide the fact that he tried to go have a romance with somebody else? He did something that he just wants to say was foolish. I was foolish. Maybe I did go after somebody else. 3 of Pentacles. And we have this King of Hearts back here. And we have Cupid. And we have this Feminine here. So I'm going to say this was a cheating situation. But he's all bummed out saying, it's over. The Queen of Swords won't take me back. The Queen of Swords doesn't want anything to do with me. She says, we're not soulmates anymore. I'm sad over this. But she's not going to get over it. And I really loved her. I was just foolish, but mom and dad said it wasn't that big of a deal. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I feel like I wish I could just stop a story and be like, no, let's not tell this one. You know what? I don't want to tell this one. But we're live. I don't have the luxury of just deleting this. AC, couldn't agree more. Okay, so I think that I'm going to just go ahead and weigh in like I do, and I shouldn't, and say this is a real concerning card to me. Why you got people that have your back in your bad behavior instead of people making you accountable? And actually, he's upright all the time. He's as upset and unhappy as he is. He's also like, but I'm a King of Swords upright. I'm a King of Cups upright. I don't see any remorse. I only see him tired of this, saying I can't go toward her. She'll never get over it. This is just over and done because she won't take me back because she said all I did was make her unhappy. But I don't see anything here where it's like, that was a dirty move on my part. But I don't know. Were you really with somebody else? I mean, those cards really said that you were. So we have the Princess of Discs. It's like, well, I was kind of planting new seeds in other ground, but it didn't really go anywhere. I mean, I kind of tried, but it didn't really go anywhere. Oh my God. I'm sorry. What I'm about to say, I need to just sip it. Okay. Two of Swords. This has been a pattern, I'm going to say, of how they get off the hook with stuff. I believe we're describing a character who operates so much on like semantics, or like you know how like they use the loopholes that lawyers would use. If you didn't ask me the precise question, where was I at 9:36 a.m. on Saturday, November the 8th, I wouldn't answer. If you said, where were you the other morning? They know exactly what morning you're talking about, but they're like, you didn't say what morning. So I could just say, I went down to get pastries. Yeah, that was on Friday, the 7th. Yeah, but you didn't ask me precisely what day and what time. And morning could be anything, from 6 a.m. to noon. So, I can omit stuff because you didn't ask me precisely. The reason I'm saying this is because they have a pattern of creating a scenario that looks very pretty. They clip things until it looks really nice by clipping out all the extra pieces. This is the king or queen of redaction. They redact whatever they want and then release the information and be like, what do you mean? I told you got the information. It's like, yeah, with everything blacked out, that means we can't see anything. And I just feel like this is the way they operate. So that's maybe why they're always a king upright no matter what. And it's like, she won't get over this. She says, I only brought her grief. She... I'm sorry. When somebody does something that hurts another person and then they blame that person for being the one who says, you only brought me grief. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And it's like, oh man, they're not going to get over this. It's like, you are definitely the problem over here, dude. I'm so sorry. Dude or dudette. This could be same-sex couples. This could be reverse gender roles. Doesn't matter. But the person in the King of Swords segment, the reason they don't see that they do anything wrong is because they block and trim out facts in order to give the version that is not exactly a lie, but is definitely not all the truth. So they pretty it up. Okay. And I have to say it that way because that card is there, and that's the message we got. So I'm sorry, but I feel like we're talking about somebody who paints things the way they wish it was, and that way they don't ever have to have accountability. So let me just ask this. Why are you acting bummed? Because she won't get over it. 3 of Wands. Well, because I had these plans for the future. Yeah, but you were trying to get with somebody else. So I don't even know what your plans, what do they have to do with her in the future? 6 of Cups in the reverse. Oh, wait, you wanted to leave her in the future? That was the plan, and she took away your action? What? 8 of Swords. There was something here. Look, I don't know if this feels very strange. I'm not sure I understand. Did they paint a picture in their mind that they were the ones that were trapped, but they were going to break free someday, but then she cut them off before? Maybe this is somebody who feels entitled to have gone out to try to start something with somebody new because they told themselves, I'm not getting treated well enough by her. Look, maybe there's truth to that, maybe there's not. But this feels like an awful lot of scheming, that they're not disappointed that she doesn't want to be with him, and they're not in regret or remorse for anything that's happened. They're annoyed that I wanted to stay until I was ready to leave. Then I would be the one to call it quits with the 6 of Cups in the reverse, and I would be the one who breaks free of this. But instead, she cut me loose, but I was planning on leaving. but I wanted to leave when it was me doing the leaving. Was there a reason for that? I can't figure out if this is like some get back. Get the lovers upright. I wanted to be with somebody first and get established elsewhere. Maybe this was all for convenience, or maybe why do we have like this is one of the ugliest stories I think I've ever seen because it feels mean spirited, but real passive aggressive, like, I thumb my nose at you, that kind of vibe. And I just feel like that's got the Hierophant upright. I don't know. The Hierophant is about rules and regulations, orders of authority. To me, this is feeling as if stay together until whatever tax season is done and we file joint taxes and we get that done and then I can leave. Because this is like 3 months. I want to at least wait 3 more months. Like I wanted to finish out this year, and still be in this connection, and then I'll leave because it would make everything better. And by then I'd have another partner. Maybe I'd be like, yep, I'm leaving. I'm getting married to somebody else. That's kind of how this feels. I don't know. Why did you want to you couldn't have nice opinions of someone if that's what your plan was. Why did you have animosity toward a Queen of Swords? 9 of Cups. So their impression is she was really happy, like when I'm unhappy. Maybe these two just sucked together. Maybe this is two people that were like downright bitter. Let's turn to the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, what's your dealio in regards to him? We have 3 of Swords and we have the Queen of Cups sideways. He broke my heart. Definitely don't love him. Okay, but why be the Queen of Cups sideways and have anything there? Ace of Pentacles. Did you want to have a new beginning with him, or you're like, he broke my heart, but I don't love him, but I don't not love him. I'm stuck somewhere in between. I'd like to have a new beginning. Was that you lying to yourself with the Magician because we have snake oil salesman, or was this hoping that they could change? The Tower. Hoping that they could change. Okay, so you really did want to be with him then. This Queen of Swords really did want to be with him. Strength card. It may have also been like, look, I made a commitment. I have the strength to weather big storms. That's one of the ways I show my strength is like I honor my commitment. They broke my heart. I kind of fell out of love with them, but not entirely. I wanted to stay and work it out, have a new beginning. They just needed to change, and I was strong enough to maybe she looked at their behaviors like it was a weakness on their part. King of Wands. I don't know if she lied to herself and told herself that they really are quite loving and that they have these, some really great traits about them. But if she sees them as potentially a King of Wands, if they would just drop that ego and then they'll be this wonderful King of Wands, I would say she's tripping because that is not who they've been at any point in time. They say that they loved her, which I do need to go back because they said, I loved her with that King of Cups upright. Why did you say you loved her? But then everything here says, to me, it does not say love. 9 of Swords, something about her triggered them all the time. She seemed really happy. She stressed him out. I don't know what the deal was between these two. She's over here saying if they would just change their ways, then, because I see that they could be really great. To me, this storyline says nobody's being honest with themselves. Why, Queen of Swords, who's normally so truthful, why did you believe that if they, made this mistake, that they would just change their behavior and then they would be a King of Wands? King of Pentacles. That could be that somebody either told her that. It could be that they had money and she was like, I want this to work out. We've built too much together. We have too much invested. We have too many joint accounts. We have this lovely house. They are a good provider in some ways. And if they would just, you know, show me love, like once upon a time they must have. Once upon a time they must have like brought her flowers or something. And she's like, I saw that side of them. So why would they not do that again if we had it once? Okay, I mean, look, if she had a taste of some other version of them that was really lovely, then that's what she wanted back, right? She's like, but I saw that. So I know that version of them is in there. They just need to bring that version back. So that's what she was holding on for. Then I have to go back over to them for one more minute here and say, you said you loved her, but then she stresses you out so much. But then what has frustrated you or something is that really deep level of like happiness, or maybe her need for happiness. I don't understand. I don't get what your animosity is. The Death card, the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Maybe he thinks that over time she stopped being attracted to him. So then he decided, well, I'm going to find somebody else who's attracted to me. And then, she can lose me. Is that what this was? It's a weird tit for tat. She doesn't make me feel special. She doesn't make me feel like she's attracted to me. Her attraction for me died. That hurts my ego. Meanwhile, she's still really happy, which hurts me further, stresses me out because I wish that she showed me that she loved me. Now I've kind of turned her into a villain in my mind. I would still say that we have like weird ego and all kinds of stuff that I can't quite wrap my head around, being and selfish, for someone to have once upon a time been like, oh, the most loving, perfect person ever. And then it's like, they turn into a freaking golem over here, It's like they're obsessed with like, you needed to show me I'm super special. And if you don't, then you know what? I'll plan to go get somebody else who falls crazy in love with me, and then I'll leave you for that person. That just feels so ridiculous. And I won't see anything wrong with my behavior. That just feels like too big of a twist. Like somebody that close to being that kind of like manipulative and selfish, I would have a hard time believing that at one point they were also just like this super awesome, super warm, wonderful, generous, blah, blah, blah. Like, how are you a king upright all the time? But then on a flick of a switch, it's like, ooh, but you know what? I've got this plan that I'm going to bounce because you didn't show me enough attention. And you know what I'm saying? Like a king would talk about it. A king would be like, babe, I am not feeling like we're on the same page. I miss the way you used to look at me. I mean, there's stuff that, are you out of love with me? Like, a king would, that's what makes a king and a queen is like, they have the ability to say, I am not satisfied. I feel like we're distant. I feel like you're happy, but I don't know if you care that I'm not feeling very loved right now. They would say something. They wouldn't be like, methinks I'll come up with a cunning plan to find somebody else, leave after 3 months, blah, blah. Like, I just don't see a king going that route. So I have a hard time believing she's seeing him with real eyes that are authentic. I have a hard time believing he's like this upright king, only because I don't see where's the communication. I mean, I think it's understandable that every person, king, queen, emperor, empress, whatever we are, we can still feel those feels. We can feel, like have those moments of like petty jealousy and like, they're not paying enough attention. Me and my feelings are hurt. And, and we act out. I get that. But this feels way too over the top. So I'm inclined, and I'm sorry, this is just me putting in my 2 cents. I can't just read this story and act like this totally makes sense, because I think we're missing, like, what's the real situation? Because I don't think either person is being really honest with themselves or even about themselves, would be my impression of this. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here going, this isn't tracking for me. King of Swords. Let's turn to the universe. Universe, you tell us at the raw foundation, who is the King of Swords? Inspiration of Cups. These are the kids of the deck. They're not kings. They're not queens. They're not even knights. This is somebody who needed to be cared for still. They want to be loved. They want somebody to tell them sorry, and then they'll be real sweet too. But this can still be somebody with like toddler mentality, Like, think about how sweet and nice toddlers can be. And then when they haven't had their nappy or they don't get the Skittles that they want at the grocery store, all bets are off. And you've got, a 30-pound, Tasmanian devil that's wiggling in your arms and you can't, gracefully get them out of the store. That's what I feel like this is. Like, they could be sweet as pie and real nice, but that maybe lack of self-control when it comes to emotions, unless they got the feel goods, unless they, if they're getting what they want, then they communicate. If they're not getting the feel goods, then they're probably having a temper tantrum. Okay, that to me, that starts to make sense. We have an Action of Cups. When it comes to their emotions, everything about them is emotional. They're not a King of Swords, period. King of Swords are rational, reasonable. They're all about thoughts. It turns out they're super emotional. Maybe they haven't reconciled this in themselves. Maybe they believe that they like suppress all their emotions and they're very logical. I would argue they're full of emotions, and actually some really beautiful emotions. But when you're trying to be a King of Swords again and again and pretend that you're not this emotional being who wants to give and receive love, who wants to be talked to tenderly, who maybe also doesn't have the greatest emotional capacity, and I kind of feel like this is somebody who, I'm not saying they would just go date or marry anybody who is nice to them, but that is the number one thing that they need. At least for this character, we're looking in their deeper traits, and the universe is not saying they're a king or a queen, nor is the universe saying that they're a villain. They're saying this person they're definitely not even an air sign. They're a deeply emotional person who needs love, attention, comfort, and then if they're receiving that, they might be a little angel baby in return. You know what? Honestly, I think that makes sense too. That's so much more understandable, because don't we all need that? Don't we all need to be cared for and made to feel safe? We got a 9 of Wands. It's just, this is kind of taking it to a new level, right? Because it says we don't have any super grown up energy for this character, at least according to the universe. And we have a 9 of Wands. If anything, they are still wandering this earth with some wounds. Whether they know that they have them or not, I don't know. But we have a lot of emotion, and then we have fire. And the emotion, of course, is water. You put water and fire together and you make steam. This is kind of a volatile internal steam that bubbles up in this person. No wonder they're kind of volatile, and yet they're thinking that they're being very logical. No, they're full of emotions. They don't know how to have a proper outlet for them. They tell themselves that they're logical, but I think this person just cannot handle not feeling loved and supported and treated like they, are kind of, I'm going to even say coddled just a smidge. Okay, universe, can we go over and ask, who is the Queen of Swords, really? Who is the Queen of Swords, really? We got 2 sideways cards. Magician and 7 of Swords. How interesting. She, too, is not a Queen of Swords. She is a combination of illusions and hope and power and grace to, create what she wants, but also can lie to herself about what she knows to be true, but not always. Okay, so we got moments of incredible truth and clarity. We've got moments of power and, I have the power to create the life that I want to have, except that I sometimes also create an illusion because I lie to myself about what I really want to have. I lie to myself about what is possible. It's look, I'll use myself as an example. If I want to try out a new recipe, I've baked and cooked long enough in my life to have a fairly decent opinion of, if I read a recipe and I'm like, oh, that won't work. There's no way that amount of wet ingredients will match with that amount of dry ingredients and make the consistency that they claim it has, or that they show that it has. And I will say, I'm not wrong about those things, but I'll still say, yeah, but I want to believe that this recipe is going to work, even though clearly there's just no way that ratio won't work. You will not have a batter with so little wet ingredients added to that much dry. Something's got to be off on that recipe. but I'll still go ahead and do it. Waste the ingredients, curse my way through it, into the dump it goes. And I'm like, why do I do that? I knew it wouldn't work. I could see it. But I told myself, but it looks so pretty and there's a picture of it all done. So I guess I'm supposed to be able to do this. Sometimes the ingredients they're not all there, or the recipe is wrong. And we can decide to lie to ourselves and say, no, it's totally going to work. And it isn't. And then sometimes you go, I know it's not going to work, so I'll tweak it, make it work, and then be like, oh yeah, it was a pretty good recipe. No, the recipe wasn't good. It was good because I paid attention. I went ahead and changed it, and it was passable. That still isn't the same as saying that the recipe actually worked. So to be honest with oneself, she does have honesty sometimes, and then she lies to herself sometimes about the ingredients she's working with. Sometimes things flop and she doesn't admit why they flopped. I mean, that's the best way I could describe this, because I wondered about that, because I'm like, okay, she's really smart, but then she seems to be seeing him with these rose-colored glasses on and saying, no, I saw this beautiful part of him before. And I'm wondering if she amplified a little too much just how fabulous she had seen him be in the past, and turned him into this fantastic King of Wands, King of Cups, Knight of Cups. I do think she must have had him behave as a as a Knight of Cups before. And we say that because the universe said, he is a Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups has one bad reputation for being like Eros, Cupid, in Greek mythology. He fell in love with love itself, right? Cupid is good for the honeymoon phase. They can be dazzling and it can feel really loving, but it may not have any consistency that lasts. And I'm kind of wondering if that is what she saw in him. And then she said, I got a taste of how wonderful he is. And she wasn't wrong, but then she extrapolated and said, I remember he was this incredible King of Pentacles and King of Wands. And that part she might be lying through her teeth about. But she did see great traits in him. Here's the thing. I think it is kind of a great story, because how relatable is it that we can meet somebody and we see a spark of something absolutely beautiful in them and we latch on to that. And it might be a 3-second clip. It's like if you're listening to a piece of music and you like 3 seconds of it, and then you go find that piece of music and you listen to the whole thing and you go, oh yeah, it was only that 3-second clip that I really loved. The rest of the song doesn't move me. I kind of think that's how this is. She's hanging on to a 3-second clip of something that was real, but then pretending that this is the best version of him, and all he has to do is shift back over and become that better version. But she might be waiting for a person that doesn't really exist. And in the process, she's not being honest with herself about the fact that she may already know this, and she may actually want to manifest something different for herself altogether and won't either let herself, or isn't being honest with herself that I'm not so sure she wants to stick this out. I really don't. It feels like if she said, I am done, you broke my heart. Are you done with him? Is the Queen of Swords done with him, universe? Temperance. The universe says she wants to have peace, whatever that means. The baseline is she wants to be content. She wants to be happy. And I think that means with or without him. On one hand, I don't really know that this is a true heartbreak for her. Universe, what's the best advice for her? 8 of Pentacles. Keep working on what she might really want in life. Keep working on thinking and asking herself those deeper questions of what would really make me feel grounded? What would really make my life better? What would really be the stuff that I want in my world? Not illusions, but tangible things. It's time to get more tangible and really, really honest, because I kind of think she's been cheating herself out of some stuff that she really wanted by, honestly, here's the, the sisterhood in me wanting to tell her, no, baby, run. You waiting for somebody who already broke your heart to just change their ways so then they can be a wonderful person again. Why should you have to settle for somebody that already broke your heart when there's other people out there that haven't broken your heart that you could go meet instead? That's just me, wanting the best for her. Meanwhile, over here on his side, let's go ahead and say, right? Maybe you matched with the wrong partner. Maybe that's why you're seeking that elsewhere. So instead of trying to do some mean get back because you're mad that she seems to be happy and didn't care enough about you being happy, my thought is like, maybe you need to take a look at that and say, yikes, this is kind of a petty behavior on my part, but it's also, I wasn't being honest with what I need to make me feel good. And I need to get better at expressing that, or I deserve to be able to have a partner that makes me feel that way. But I got to actually seek that out. It just kind of feels like both of them want something that they're not getting from each other. And then it's making this thing a big old rocky mess. Universe, what's the best advice for him? Four of Wands in the reverse, Seven of Cups sideways. He may not really want to be in a relationship where it's a marriage. He might prefer, because here's the thing. Knights are still seeking. Maybe he finds a way to act like he's not getting enough, or when the thrill is gone a little bit, like we said, Eros, Cupid, they fall in love with the honeymoon phase. And then if that high and that wonderful, like, oh my God, they love me so much and I love them so much. And then the day-to-day rhythm sets in. And it's like, well, they're not acting like, they're enamored with me at every second anymore because, we're in a rhythm of day-to-day life, and the love ideally like deepens, and simple day-to-day stuff becomes like the act of love, and that's the kind of stuff that we're sharing together. But they're like, no, I want the honeymoon all the time. Then they may not be ready for a marriage if they only want a honeymoon. And that means maybe they do need to just date a whole bunch of different people and not try to be in one connection. Look, the universe being pretty bold in this one and saying, if you don't want to be married because you want the options, but more than that, you want what the immediate thrill of meeting a new person and having the honeymoon phase fills you with. You want the quest. You want to feel really special. And that definitely comes with those first dates or the first couple months of dating, not necessarily with the day-to-day grind. And if there's still wounds that they got to heal, maybe they need to be single. And I'm not saying be single and go and work out your wounds on other people. No, it's more like really consider, are you really, the universe says you might not want to be married, at least not now. We got an Ace of Wands upright. We got the Ten of Pentacles. The universe is saying what they really are craving is something really stable that makes them feel safe. But this also says they're craving a lot of money. A lot of everything here keeps saying to me that they want like freedom, but then they want somebody else who makes like a safe space for them. They might be looking for some glamorous life and also something where it's always a shiny new, or the money that can buy them shiny new this and that. They might not really be looking for depth of connection, at least not where they're at right now in their emotional evolution. I'm sorry, those are the cards we got. I can't help. I'm not trying to make this person sound like a total shallow Hal or anything. It's just, if their real passion is, it's a swimming pool full of money and kind of a life living it at like a resort. Maybe love and partnership isn't even what they're hungry for. Maybe they want to be single, live the James Bond life or the femme fatale lifestyle, where they just spend all their money on themselves. They go on fancy vacations. They have passionate hookups with people, and they feel like, oh my God, I'm living my best life. Hey, go do you, boo. But you're not going to be able to be satisfied with the day-to-day life if that's not what you want. I think that's what it is. So I think at this point, we have two characters that they kind of want a fantasy. She's kind of been telling herself a bit of a fantasy, but this is two different versions of what is making like a relationship not work out very well. Where we're dealing with what's real and what's not. And I think at the end of the day, obviously these two are not satisfying each other's needs. So there isn't a big sad thing. And part of them is super bummed, but I think they were always bummed for themselves. Let me just ask, in the big scheme of things, were you hoping that somehow the two of you would have had this be successful? I'm asking him this. Hanged Man, the World, the Judgment card. Even here, it's like old life or new life. Someday down the road, they still really wanted to end up with her, but I think they don't want to be with a relationship right now. I think this says, well, I wanted her to wait for me. I don't really want to be together right now because it's, I'm frustrated. I'm not satisfied. I need to, whatever, go out and pursue other things. But I wanted to think she's at home waiting for me. And someday we'd have a new beginning. And I'm really bummed thinking she won't ever let me come back. And it almost seems like they had like a low-key agenda somewhere in the subconscious mind that we start things out. It seems really great, but then, oh man, she expects me to like not build up resentments and then go and get some kind of like attention elsewhere. She won't be with me if that's what I do. She wants me to change. I don't want to change. I wanted her to shower me with affection. Really, maybe I don't want to be married at all right now, but I won't admit that to myself. But someday later, I was definitely going to want to be with her. Look, I even think in this mixed up way, they really do love her in the way they can love. That's a very hard statement to make, but I do kind of think that there's something to that. People love us as much as they can. We got to remember they don't all have the same capacity to love in the same way. So they love us to the extent that they can. And again, I'll go back and talk about it like a toddler. A toddler can love people like, they love their mommies and daddies. They love their pets. They love their toys. And they might even be empathetic enough to say, oh, mommy's crying. And, they pat mommy's face and they don't want mommy to be sad. But they don't have the words or the comprehension to sit down and be like, tell me about your life problems, mommy. Let's discuss over a martini, the ins and outs of a relationship that is, going through a roller coaster. They love us to the capacity that they can, but there's stuff that you have to like mature into both vocabulary and comprehension of to be able to understand the different levels of, people's needs. And we already described this character as a page and as a knight, but never as, a king, a queen, an emperor, an empress. So I'm just going to say they do truly love her to the best of their ability, but we have to remember the best of this character's ability is only as a page or as a knight. So not in a more mature way, but they do love her for what it's worth. Okay. And finally for her, we've got the Judgment in the reverse and the Six of Pentacles. For her, the universe is like, just get on with it. Don't even think about reconciliation. There's somebody else that you're going to match up with. There's somebody else that you want. So her desire is partnership. It's fair, balanced, awesome partnership. That's what she's actually all about. She was trying to say, I wanted it to be them. So I was telling myself a story about how they had all the ingredients. I know they could be that amazing partner. And all this time she was kind of telling herself a lie. What she really wants is a recipe that works. And you can't use a crappy recipe and think you're going to bake the cake that you want. You have to you got to have the right ingredients to get the cake to work out the way you want it to. And I don't think that he was the right ingredients for her future, for what she wants it to look like. And the universe is like, and it's not going to work out in this go round, in this lifetime. You could try it again and again and again with them and expect them to be different, but you got to look at it as they love you in the way that they can love you. And that's not the way you want to be loved. So they're not the right recipe for you. That's not the right ingredients to put into your life, but it's okay. It's okay, because freeing yourself from that illusion means now you can go ahead and have a much easier time finding the right connection, the right relationship, the right ingredients. She's not asking for the universe or the world. She's asking for somebody who's just ready to give, wanting to give. And the universe is like, yeah, that's out there for you. You just got to not ask somebody who clearly is not capable of giving that to be that. You don't ask a horse to be a bartender. That's not That's not a translatable thing. Horses are great, bartenders are great, but a horse can't step into a bar and bartend for you. That's ridiculous. I'm using an image because it's like, well, duh, of course not. Um, that's about as ridiculous as this would have been. The universe says to her also, maybe go solo just a little bit with that Nine of Pentacles, and know you were fantastic. It's not that they didn't love you, and it's not that they didn't want to give to you. It literally is that they cannot, because that is not who they are. That is not the level that they're at. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing lacking in you. Don't let that get in your head and make you wonder if you're good enough. Well, how come though? How come they wouldn't have wanted to give me more? They don't want to give anybody more. It's not where they're at. I like that nudge to her to say, don't think that that's something that you have to worry about. In fact, the universe says, put this out of your mind, girl. Let it go. Let it go. Every single time, go, nope, they wouldn't work in my life because they already didn't. I don't want to take back the person that already showed me they're looking for freedom. They're not looking for long term. I think the reason it got confusing, though, is because we did see them say, well, later I did want to be with her, I think. And they might have, implied a lot of stuff, talked about a long term future, but they didn't really want it until much later on. Look, the universe says, move on quickly, be single for a bit, just enough to do that little self check. Hey, am I good? Am I good? Am I wounded by this? The universe is like, you shouldn't be wounded by this. You're not missing out on anything by them not being in your life, and you're not lacking in anything. Now, Godspeed, move forward and go out and find the hottie that you actually want to be with and who's mature enough to be in your world also. That's it. The person that really matches you better. I think this simplified things that seemed really complicated. And I mean, certainly I know it took 46 minutes to get all the way through this, but it did simplify something that at first appeared like, oh my God, the layers to break down. And it's like, nuh-uh, I should have just asked right out of the gate, universe, who are they? Universe, who is she? Because that's when we had the breakthrough. It's like, oh, they're a page. They're a knight. They don't even want a long-term relationship. They're a toddler who needs more attention. And she's somebody who's not being truthful with herself about the fact that she already knows that. So anyway, I like the fact that we wrapped this up with clarity, and like everybody gets to be who they really are now. And that's going to make them happier to live the life that really reflects who they are. And there's no mean-spirited energy left in this anymore, which is really nice. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Raven T Maniac. Hey, Bobby. Wonder T, awesome to see you. Small TV, lots of love to you, babe. Luminous Marina, I was right there with you. Like, if I were sitting here watching this movie play out, chomping, popcorn, I would have been like, run, throwing handfuls of popcorn. Sweet dreams, Bobby. Supernova, hi, babe. Hi, Denisa. So wonderful to see you guys. All right, everyone. I have to admit, I was like extremely low energy today. I was looking forward to doing a lot more zodiacs today, and I just never really got, I don't know if it's because the weather's changed or what, or I just overworked earlier this week, but I tell you, I have been so, like, my brain has been sluggish today and everything. And I think I'm going to call it a night and go crawl into my bed. At midnight, I do have a today's topic that'll come out over on Kate's Regretless Life, but I think I'm going to call it a night from here, you guys. It's been lovely hanging out with you guys, and I hope you guys are all off to sweet dreams. Nice to see you, Black Butterfly 25. Hi, Hetty. Nice to see you, babe. I'll see you tomorrow, sweetie. Zion's Gamming. Hi, love. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you, babe. Thank you again, Anisha Chatu. Good morning, sweetie. I hope your day is amazing. Donna, how are you, sweetheart? Thanks for being here. AC, I hear you. Wonder Tea, thank you. Thank you so much for giving it a thumbs up, guys. That means the world to me. Thank you so much. It really does help the channel. Ginger Montague. Hi, hun. Hi, Sparkle. Hi, Nemo. Thanks so much, Luminous Marina. Chenna, awesome to see you tonight. Karen Bishop, thank you for the rose, sweetheart. Nikki O, Indigo Moonex, T Baby, My Light Exposes Your Darkness. Nice to see you, sweetie. Bellum B, hi. Hi, Dwanette. All right, you guys. And Violet, you, of course, were tied with Denisa for first in the house, as you always are, my love. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you again tomorrow. Sweet dreams, everyone. Bye for now.